Thanks for checking out Higher Thought Gaming. With this one, we are on the sniper, and we're going to take a look at the Lost Fusil after patch 9.0. So the variant of the weapon that's seen the buff was the fire rate version, and it got a 25% charge reduction buff. So overall, your charge shots are charging up extremely fast, and the only caveat is you are dropping some ammo. But overall, I think the Lost Fusil feels the best in this build right here, and it really allows you to use some of your perks even better with this version of the weapon. So you will start with 20 ammo, and your prestige perk will be able to give you 3 ammo every 15 seconds. So we're going to get into our class build here, our prestige perks, as well as the Lost Fusil itself and our secondary and melee weapon. Okay, moving straight into our class perks here, we're going to have our first core perk, Melee Mastery, to have our 20% against majorist level or higher enemies. It just hits harder than ever because after patch 9, melee weapons are in a much better spot. Then we are taking Vantage Point. With the increased fire rate on the Lost Fusil, you can stand stationary and take advantage of this perk much easier than you could before, so I recommend trying that out. And then we have Lethal Efficiency to keep our ammo up overall on the Lost Fusil. Squad Renewal for our ability recharge by 10% for our headshot kills. And then Purification is going to keep our contested health up by using our camo cloak and breaking, going in and out of that targeted shot. This also ties better now to the fire rate version of the Lost Fusil because you are going to break your cloak even faster than you could before, and adding 75% is a huge chunk of damage that you can do. Don't fall in love with using this, but use it when you can, and it is going to make the Lost Fusil obviously hit extremely hard. Lingering Concealment, I recommend this on all the builds. This is an extremely strong perk, definitely when you tie it to different melee things you can do with it. And when it comes to your signature perk, Pattern of Excellence, one of the best one he has, but with a build like this, it is harder to perform 3 consecutive headshots, so you really have to be on point with that. So if you cannot, do that too well with your secondary, you may want to switch up to a different signature. And when it is coming to our prestige perks overall here, we have Versatile Precision for our 15% extra ammo to our primary weapon from our secondary. We have Emperor's Grace to give us our invulnerability for 2 seconds when we activate our cloak. That and Lingering Concealment are, one of the best synergizing perks in the game. We have Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you take 25% less health damage for 15 seconds. And we're finishing off with Exacting Focus. After a gun strike, 20% more range damage for 10 seconds. So 10 seconds is a while for this to last. You can at least get a couple shots off with your Lost Fusil, and 20% when you're tying it to something like the Lost Fusil is extremely powerful. Yeah, let's go straight into the Lost Fusil itself here. So for the gameplay, we will be in the fire rate version, and this is the version that got the buff, and the version that you're really going to want to go in there and check out, guys. So for our overall setup, it's very similar. I like the blast radius, and I really like the maximum ammo, and on this weapon, I feel like the maximum ammo is going to be a necessity. You will start with 20 in this version right here, which is not a huge amount. So you have to really be on point at switching down to your secondary weapon. It's going to be very important, and that is how you're going to be able to keep your ammo up overall on the gun. And then you will also have killing 3 enemies or more with 1 shot gives you the 25% more damage for 5 seconds. So very strong perk right there. You're going to be killing 3 or more enemies quite often with this weapon, especially with the blast radius, how it's set up. So you're going to be able to keep that 25% up. You're going to have a base 10% on headshots, a base 10% on your gun overall. And just, it doesn't really struggle against anything in the game, guys. It goes through everything extremely smoothly. Only thing is terminus damage on terminus that you cannot get, good headshots on. And that's going to be like something like the Hellbrute, the Carnifex, those 2 enemies. It's going to depend on if your group's got them kind of stationary and things like that to how many headshots you can get on them. But something like the Neothrope, obviously, you're just going to melt away with this weapon. And then when we are moving to our secondary, which, our main focus with the weapon is really keeping our ammunition up on the Lost Fusil. So we want maximum ammunition on the heavy bolt pistol. We are taking as much ammo as we can throw onto the gun. And then we are also going to go with our ability will give us a 20% damage buff, which we can really activate this at will because we can go in and out of our cloak whenever really we want. So the damage overall in the gun is going to be really nice. But like I said, the main thing about the weapon is really using it for your primary weapon ammo. So don't fly through your secondary ammo. Use your melee as well, and then this is how you're going to have your knife spec'd out. I am recommending either the balance version or the fencing version. Both of these weapons are feeling really nice. With the balance version, guys, the 6 cleave is very noticeable, and it feels really good against hordes, so definitely just go in there and at least try that one out. When it comes to the blocking weapon, my previous favorite weapon on the class, I don't think it's bad or anything. It's just overall it just got a nerf because the strength on this block weapon did not go up at all. I think it might have got that plus because I think it was only 16. But either way, the strength did not barely budge, and then the speed actually dropped on the weapon. So that's why I don't really like it as much anymore, and I am switching up to either the balanced or the balanced or the fencing version. And then this is how we're going to spec it out right here. When it comes to both of these perks, you're going to want them both. Shoulder Bash lets you break cloak very easily, and it lets you go into an attack extremely fast after your sprint attack. So that's why you're taking Shoulder Bash and then Shadow Stab. When you can get this off on bosses, you can do a huge chunk of damage, and that's another reason why you're going to want this 20% terminus damage right here tied to it as well.
Last cannons active. Return power to them. Last cannons will ignite the battlefield once again. They shall not. Last cannons are still offline. Active camouflage charge. The last cannons will soon be online. This will not be but corner to the grave. I am a phantom of death. Chameleon line cloak ready. Changing magazine. Whilst the last cannons are silent, the enemy has an advantage. Last cannon restoration protocols engaged. Active camouflage charge. Engaging with last cannon interface. Keep your attention on the remaining threats. Active camouflage charge. They shall not. Precisely what we needed. Stealth ready. Chameleon line cloak activated. An automaton. Specs ready to scan. To put faith in man is to seek death. 1,000 suns terminate thwarted. I am a phantom of death. Chameleon line close.